Once upon a time, computer was a job title, and it belonged to a person. A living, breathing person who got paid to do long divisions. Manually, of course. You know, the kind of job that makes people consider early retirement, permanently, at the ripe age of 14. But then humanity said, what if we just make a machine that does the divisions for us so we don't have to talk to Janet from accounting ever again? And thus, the computer was born. Meet Charles Babbage. Babbage? Cabbage? I don't know. Mathematician, inventor, probably fun at parties if the party theme was existential dread and industrial design. Babbage dreamed up the analytical engine in the 1800s, a machine made of brass, gears, and probably the crushed hopes of Victorian interns. It could, in theory, do general purpose calculations. It was basically a steampunk calculator, but way more pretentious. Unfortunately, he never finished building it, probably because he spent most of his time writing angry letters to street musicians. Enter Ada Lovelace, the only person in that century with a functioning imagination. She saw Babbage's doodles and said, wait a minute, this ain't just math, this is programming. She's basically the world's first coder. She walked so Silicon Valley could run, straight into a wall of venture capital fraud. Fast forward to World War II. Humanity is now killing each other at scale, but efficiently. So we need computers, not to stream Netflix, but to break codes and calculate missile trajectories. Meet ENIAC and Colossus, machines that took up entire rooms and used enough electricity to power a small country or a medium-sized rave. These things were slower than your grandma on dial-up, but they were faster than humans. And they didn't unionize. Yet. And in the middle of this was Alan Turing, mathematician, cryptanalyst, and the man who single-handedly shortened the war by years. Now, what do you think the British government did to Alan Turing after he helped end the Second World War by cracking Nazi codes? Either A, gave him a knighthood, a castle, and a commemorative tea set. B, made him the CEO of British Computing and gave him a lifetime supply of tweed. C, sent him to a top-secret space station to invent time travel with Winston Churchill's ghost. Or D, let him retire early to a quiet countryside estate where he taught sheep how to play chess. That's right, E, they chemically castrated him for being gay, then they ignored him until he died. Eventually, humanity discovered something called the transistor, a tiny switch that changed everything. Suddenly, computers didn't have to be the size of shipping containers, just your dad's garage. This led to the microchip, personal computers, the internet, social media, and then civilization as we know it began circling the drain. From IBM to Apple to that weird kid in your school who runs Linux and corrects your grammar. Wait a second. The personal computer became a tool for freedom, creation, and also sending death threats to people over anime opinions. But Moore's law, the idea that computers double in power every 2 years, started to die. Turns out, you can't keep shrinking things forever without the universe saying, hey, knock it off. At a certain point, electrons start doing weird quantum nonsense, like teleporting or vibrating through walls, or listening to Radiohead unironically. This is where classical computing begins to lose its grip, and where quantum computing begins to whisper in our ears, I'm not like other computers. I'm complicated. I have superposition. I am... So basically, quantum computing is when your computer says, what if I'm a 1 and a 0? What if I'm everything and nothing at the same time? Okay, Friedrich Nietzsche. What if I've been seeing classical bits behind your back? Wait. Instead of flipping coins to choose between options, quantum computers spin the coin, teleport the coin, and read it while it's on fire in 5 different universes at once. They use things like superposition and entanglement, which basically means particles know what each other are doing even if they're galaxies apart. Quantum computers aren't just fast, they're fundamentally different. They don't use classical bits that are ones or zeros. They use qubits, which are ones and zeros. Classical computers go through doors one at a time. Quantum computers walk through all doors simultaneously, then throw the building into a black hole. Companies like Google, IBM, and D-Wave are racing to build these machines. It's like the space race, except the rocket is imaginary and the laws of physics are sobbing in a corner. Their new applications, well, they'll be breaking encryptions, discovering new materials, and solving optimization problems. Also, making your password 1234 is even less safe than it already was. But here's the kicker. Quantum computers are still experimental. They crash, they decohere, they're expensive. They're the rich kid in school who's very promising, but they can't tie their shoes without a PhD in superconductors. So from gears and punch cards to vacuum tubes to chips to qubits, computers have evolved faster than our abilities to use them responsibly. They started as tools, then toys, then surveillance machines. Soon they'll be gods. Or at least very judgmental spreadsheets. And as we stare into the quantum abyss, one thing's clear. Humanity didn't build computers to solve problems. We built them so we could create new ones faster.